Hello and welcome to the Virtual Cafe. I'm your hostess, Segilola Salami. I always say host, but never mind. Who have I got here with me today?
You have Jim Sweeney from Clearwater, Florida. I'm the mic maker. I created the cartoon Mike sports character, whom I expect to be the first ever animated brand to transcend all sports. I'm happy to be here today to share my story, so thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. And what would you like to drink?
What would I like to drink? Coffee with a little bit of cream, piping hot.
Piping hot. Any sugar?
No sugar. I'm watching my waistline.
Well, that's nice. What would you like to have with it?
What would I like to have with it? I just drink coffee in the morning and I have oatmeal that I make on my own. So when I go to a cafe, strictly coffee, nothing else, no pastries.
Nice, nice. Well, you're an inspiration. Okay, who have I got next? So the little human, she's at nursery at the moment. So coffee is not really that hard. So I'm sure I can get you a nice mug of how do you like your coffee? In a nice mug or bowl? See, I like mine in a tankard. I like hot chocolates. I like mine in a tankard. You know, one of those. Have you ever watched? Oh, what was it called now? Cougar Town, right? And then they have the massive wine glass, and it's like, oh, it's only one glass, but then actually that's like a bottle of wine they've had in that one glass. So I like to have my hot chocolates in that kind of massive tankard. So do you like a nice small diddly mug, or do you like a nice big one?
So you're speaking to me. I'm sorry. Okay. So I'm Dr. Janelle Alex. I'm a traveling entrepreneur currently in Panama City Beach, Florida. I'm a writing coach for women who feel that call to make a huge difference in the world, but they just don't know where to start. So I help them create a doable plan that fits their lifestyle and helps them create their own personal freedom and get their message heard. And if it's wine, put it in one of the big ones. But if I'm drinking coffee, just a cup of coffee is good, preferably a vanilla soy latte of a morning. And maybe some toast.
All right, okay, toast is good. Vanilla soy latte. You see, I really need to go to more cafes, right? I think I need to go and work in other cafes and see how, because I don't know if it's an American thing or it's a coffee lover thing, but it's like I find that people come and they just request yours is not that, because I'm just trying to think vanilla soy latte and I'm just trying to put it all together in my head and it's just not computed. What does it taste like? Does it taste very vanilla-y? But then does the soy, like how does the taste just merge together?
I don't know if I can explain how soy tastes. I just prefer soy milk. And yeah, definitely you can taste the vanilla, and it depends on where you get it, right? If you go to some of the cafes, they have a different flavor, or it depends for that matter what the barista does. If they, mix it perfectly like normal, but there's other times you're like, wow, maybe they added a little too much vanilla syrup. So vanilla is definitely strong, but usually hopefully the coffee has a good strong coffee flavor as well. We don't want to lose that. We don't want it to taste like, candy for breakfast or any time of the day.
Yes. Okay, no, that's fine. Right. So you do women's coaching, isn't that right? I thought, because the line was breaking up.
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes, I work with my husband as well, so we work with men too, but my specific work on my own is working with women as a writing coach.
Right. But then have you written anything yourself, or you just coach women?
Yeah. I just released my most recent book called Soul Gap, Rediscovering the Colors of Your Soul and Fulfilling Your Life's Mission. That just came out at the end of 2016.
Okay.
So that's the most recent one.
Right, okay. And now, so before I come back to you, Jim had said something really amazing, that he's got this character, but then I think he talks like me and he talks really, really fast, and everything he was saying was just like a blur. And I thought I heard something about sports and the only thing. And Jim, can you just remind us again?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking.
For my baby brain.
The character that I created is actually a trademarked cartoon sports character. And his name is Mike, and he's a microphone. So he is what he is. And we call him the ultimate talking head on sports. And in the United States, he's primarily an American character. And in the United States, we call sportscasters talking heads. So Mike is a talking head on sports. And in addition to seeing him as a cartoon character in an animated style, where I've gotten him out into the marketplace is through blogging as well as publishing ebooks. And I've been at this for the last few years, and I've posted almost 1,000 blogs, and I've published 40 sports comic books. And it gives, even though it's a static print, it's not animation that comes to life, I still am able to get the voice, the likeness of the character into the marketplace, so that my fans and my followers, they get to know who Mike is, because they could understand his humor, his perceptions, the way he views sports through the written word. And I love what I do. He's totally unique. I've never seen anything out there similar to him. And I utilize digital publishing, whether it's my blog or my ebooks, to get the character's image and likeness out into the marketplace, with the eventual expectation that I will sign a licensing deal with a major sports network or a major corporation that could utilize the image and likeness in its campaigns.
Interesting.
It's definitely interesting. It's my full-time gig. I love it. I actually make money out of it. We have aligned with the top sports merchandising affiliates here in the United States, and I could sell their products, whether it's through my blogs or in my ebooks. And that's the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, National Hockey League, sports memorabilia, lids, fanatics, and there are 7 of the top sports merchandisers in America.
Yeah, see, you know what, today I feel like I'm not even going to do you justice, because I'm not a really sporty person, and so most of what you're saying, I kind of understand it, and I feel like, you know what, we don't even need we need like an off day, like an evening time, right, where there's wine, and there's gin and tonic, and there's, proper adult drinks, and then we can actually sit down and have a proper conversation, so that I can understand everything, and people can, fully get everything that you have to say, because I can imagine your head is just filled with loads and loads of different ideas. So
it works 24/7. If we do it at night, getting back to your original conversation in the coffee shop, I want a tankard of red wine. Don't be offering me some little petite glass, okay?
Really, I think I should go and buy a tankard, because I really do need, I think the people that come here, we all do need tankards of different things. Okay, that will be on my shopping list. We need to get a tankard. Right, okay. So you've been doing this writing, and that's how you've developed this character. And funny thing is, last week, the guest that came on the, in the cafe, we were talking about sort of using the new year as a new slate to use it to one's advantage and come up with strategies that would help, to, sort of propel the year as it goes and sort of try. So with your writing, do you feel that your writing, you've been able to make a difference with your writing, or how have you used your writing to make a difference to you professionally? I guess it's your writing that has helped you to propel Mike, or what do you think?
Yes, without doubt. I mean, my strategy, my plan is just to be consistent in what I do, because I've been steadily, slowly over the past few years developing traction for my character and, my fan base. And they expect to see things, from me through the voice of Mike on a regular basis. So consistency and excellence in all that I do. Whatever I put out there into the digital space, I make certain that it's all properly edited, properly formatted. And all of my blogs and my books, I have the image of my character. Like in a book, the character's image could appear 75 to 100 times. And that's great for me, because I want people to see the image of Mike. But I also always have to speak, because I'm writing through the voice of Mike, I have to speak in how Mike would say things. And Mike is a witty, clever, funny guy that views the world of sports through his own unique lens. And I always have to be diligent and dedicated to always remaining in character and doing that on a consistent basis. So, my New Year's resolution this year is the same New Year's resolution I had last year, is to be excellent in all I do, to be consistent, and always to stay within the voice of the character that I created. And I found it to be very successful for myself individually, personally, professionally.
Right, okay. So how do you think your writing, because I know you say you blog quite a lot, how do you think your writing will help you get, was it a license deal from a sports network? Is that the right term?
Yes, that is my goal. That's my ultimate goal, is the big sports networks in the United States are ESPN, Fox Sports, NBC Sports, CBS Sports, Turner Sports. And I want one of the big five to be able to sign a licensing deal with Mike so that they could utilize his image and likeness on television and on their website. And my character is unique in that he's witty and clever. He's an alter ego character. He's really me, that that becomes real in life in the form of a cartoon character. And I can't compete with all the thousands of other sports bloggers, radio guys, or sportscasters that you see in the United States that are always reporting on something topical, like a game that happened last night, or predicting what's going to happen in this weekend's playoffs. I need to look at things differently through a different lens, where it's unique, it's witty, it's clever, it makes people laugh, or it makes people pause and say, wow, I didn't see things that way. So that's the niche that I always have to address. And my writing, if you do stuff, repeatedly with excellence and diligence, and you'll also have some people giving you feedback. I do work with my wife. She serves as my editor. Plus, I get feedback from the people that read the blog and make comments. And I'd be foolish if I just totally disregarded, some of the things that people said. You hone your craft by doing it a lot and learning from other people's constructive comments, that they provide you.
Yes, no, definitely. That sounds amazing. Okay,
I love what I do. I love what I do. I don't work a day in my life because I love what I do.
Oh, perfect. I think when we grow up, we want to be like you. We're not working, we're just doing what we love. So Janelle, we've let Mike take the shine for a little bit. So, I know you say you work with your husband, but then you also do a lot of women's things. So do you feel, or do you find that your writing your own books has sort of helped you stand out, as a coach?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. I think that's vitally important. In fact, clients, and they're coming into the last part of 2016. They could hardly wait for the latest book to be released so they could get copies of it. They're like, oh, I want that, because, they're used to hearing the things that we talk about or that I talk about, and seeing that they wanted to pick it up. We do have a lot of clients that my husband and I both work with as well. So there's definitely crossover, and so it's because he and I together work with authors as well. So there's a lot of that, but it's important for us as a couple that we have those pieces that we can stand out together. And then it's important for us to have our individual pieces. And he has books he's written. I have my individual books. Actually, our 9-year-old has co-authored with Daddy, and I edit that. So he's coming into this as well. And that's important for us to have individuality, but yet to be able to get, so we get our individual voices heard, and we do have different writing styles. So when we write separately, that's great. It helps us shine on those individual levels and reach a different audience and different people, because the messages are a little bit different when we do that. So that's really important to us.
Okay, fabulous. See, now I think it's actually a good thing that you have books, because I think, if someone was going to get, say, a life coach and the person hasn't written anything, because do you think that having authored, a book or books makes you stand out as an authority? Because when you do a lot of reading, they always say that, writing makes you an authority, in your field. And do you find that that's actually helped you out by having your own books?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's in so many different capacities. It definitely positions. If you've written a good book, If you're you have a good editors and you have a good topic and you've put quality content out in the world, because unfortunately, as many authors as we work with, occasionally you'll find some that you go, maybe you need to, let's help you find a better editor. And that happens, and that's okay. You don't, you don't have to be the perfect writer. You can have editors, right? So you may have great ideas, but maybe you just don't write fluidly or don't know how to line things up so that you reach those people and get your message across and connect with them on an emotional level to get them bonded to your story or the character stories. Like in Mike's case, the sports fanatics, and maybe not even fanatics, but sports fans, and the witty piece that he brings in with Mike, it's funny, and the people will bond to him and just go, oh my gosh, he's hilarious, and they want to know more from this cute little character. Forgive me, Mike, if I said it like girly there.
No, that's
I am
okay.
a big football fan, though, right? So I'm a sports person, but I called him a cute little character. That might not be fair. I don't know. I'm sorry.
He is a cute little character, but he does have depth, and he's got thick skin too. He has to.
I didn't want to offend him.
Yeah. I'd like to echo what Dr. Janelle had just said, because when you write prolifically, and people find you, they view you as some type of an expert in your field. Yeah. And in the case of Mike, a lot of the things I say, almost all the things I say, are through a different lens as to how I, through the voice of Mike, see the world of sports. So it always comes back to me every time that I post my blog and then I share it, especially on Facebook. People would say, hey, this happened. What does Mike have to say about that? And it's like, all right,
nice.
It's great, because they view me, they want to hear my opinion. They don't necessarily always agree with what I have to say, and that's okay, because if they don't agree, then they want to vocalize why they think that I'm wrong and they're right, and that engages dialogue, and it's more people that spend time interacting with you, and I think that's a very good thing.
Are they engaging with you, or are they engaging with Mike?
They're engaging with Mike, but at the same time, I always have to be very, very diligent in making certain I stay in character. But if it's my personal Facebook page, people always call me the Mike maker, or they know that I am Mike, and they just want to know what I have to say. So, okay. But that's a good thing, I think, because that means I've established myself slowly over a period of time as a so-called expert when it comes to viewing things, through a unique lens in the field of sports.
Yeah. No, would you guys, the both of you, would you guys think that, being more than just an author is a good thing? Because I've come across some people who just want to write, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but for you to get more out of your writing career, I think it almost sort of goes hand in hand, to be an author and be something else, be something else and be an author. And I feel like they both go hand in hand, and they help to propel you. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I have heard that as well with the hundreds of authors that we worked with. So many of them just want to write, especially fiction authors. They have that tendency. They just want to write. They just want to write and get it out there, and they just want to be the next J.K. Rowling. And I'm like, that's great. It's a little difficult to have that happen. But the financial return on investment really is it's much easier to attain if you have something else that your writing supports. So, in my case, working with women, and the latest book is The Soul Gap. So, that point where so many of us hit those moments and we go, oh my gosh, there's got to be something more to life. I'm so missing something. And of course, that's what I call your soul gap. When you have your soul's mission, but you're not actively participating in that. We get wrapped up in our day-to-day life and paying the bills and so forth, and we get disconnected from our life purpose, or as I phrase it, your soul's mission. So we lose that, and we have to recognize that gap again and discover that, so we can figure out what it is that we want to do. And writing is such a powerful way to do that. Yes. For so many people, whether it's even in just your own journal and it doesn't go anywhere, that's really powerful as well. And then if you want to get it out there to support whatever differences, whatever changes you would love to see and accomplish in the world, that's a great way to do it, whether it's blogging or whether it's actually writing a book. And when you've written a book or more than one, and again, if it's a well-written book, preferably a well-written book, then
Yes.
I mean, there are some, I mean, 50 Shades of Grey, in my opinion, is not well-written, and she made, hundreds of millions of dollars. So,
Yes.
it's a matter of opinion. It's a matter of opinion. But
So I'm glad you bring it, because this is stuff that I love saying all the time. And a lot of time people focus on the quality of their writing, but actually it's the quality of the writing comes secondary to the marketing. And also, right, sometimes people enjoy, for lack of a better word, and if you're a little person, like my little human who's not here, close your ears. Some people like crap, right? And they would proudly say, you know what, I enjoy reading crap, right? And I'm not saying 50 Shades of Grey is crap, because I've never read it. I tried watching the movie and I couldn't really get into it. But, so people actually will say, you know what, I like crap. I'm owning it, right? It is my crap. I love reading crap. So there we go, right?
well, that's why there are so many. Okay, I'll be really careful, and I promise I'm not intending to go political here. But of course, Mike and I are in the U.S. There's been a lot of fake news that affected. I don't know if it affected, but some believe it affected our presidential election here this last fall. So, people like that. They get sucked into reading stuff, negative stuff, and whoever the negativity is being aimed at. People do unfortunately like that. And of course, most of the time, well, that's not fair to say, but a lot of time the negative stuff isn't maybe written really well. It may not be high quality writing. But when you write something and you get it out there, it certainly usually opens more doors to get interviews, to have speaking engagements, because it does position you in that place of having knowledge and as an expert.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'd like to add my 2 cents about what Dr. Janelle just said about opening doors, because my wife, who's also a digital content creator, she always talks about how there's a new paradigm of publishing that has really flourished within the last several years. And if you want to be an author or you want to be a writer, in the past, people had just viewed being a writer as, okay, you wrote a book, and that qualifies and constitutes you as a writer, and you're in the publishing business. But now, publishing, if you look at like my wife's brand, she's an author of ebooks. She's a podcaster, that's publishing. She's a vlogger on YouTube, so that's publishing. She's written e-courses. She writes for the Huffington Post, and she's always on Twitter, Google Plus, and Facebook, and that's all publishing. And the key is, if you want to be a successful publisher, then you have to unify your message, and you have to be consistent in what you say across all those different platforms. So,
absolutely,
there is a new paradigm when it comes to publishing, and not everybody has figured it out. And if you want to be, the more successful you can be is if you figure out how to have a consistent message that you put out there, where you're always singing from the same hymnal. So that's my 2 cents. Mike, I write a blog every Tuesday. It's called my Mike 2 cents, and I publish it on a Tuesday. So I like always giving my 2 cents.
Yeah, that's fine. So just to sort of wrap up, because it reminds me of this Nigerian author. She's called Chimamanda Adichie, and she's a quote-unquote feminist. And because she's written books that talks about feminism, she's then been she's got like media engagement, or she's actually come on the BBC, which is like the British Broadcasting Corporation, one of their channels, when someone who was pro-Trump, and she was supposed to be anti-Trump, something like that, and just because she's a feminist, and so it's then given her that, quote-unquote expertise to come, and talk. And that's, I think, how she's used her writing to make a difference in her life, in the world, where people are like, oh, okay, let's see her point of view. Let's see what she's got. And I think, that's a really good thing. Whereas, and again, if some people don't, just want to write, that's also fine. But then there's also lots of opportunities to use your writing to actually make a difference and put you more. And the more media engagement you have, then the more people who possibly might not have heard of you will then get to hear about you more. And it's kind of like a vicious circle. More media engagements, more popularity for your books, more popularity for your books, more media engagement.
Yeah, but always be consistent and factual. Back up whatever you put out there. Make sure that it's properly researched. And if you're posting a blog, give the accreditation. Make sure you put in the hyperlink with your sources, and that establishes you, as an expert. Even though I write through the voice of a cartoon character, Mike, whenever I quote something, I'll look to put I'll tag it with ESPN and have a direct link to the article. That's where I found what I wanted to say in the blog through the quote, and I'll make sure that I do that so people can't call me on the carpet and say, you're full of it. You just made that up.
Right. But that's so important. It truly is. It's vitally important. Just putting unsubstantiated stuff out there is, it loses so much. But remember, and I know, Mike, you said this, but people need to remember that it's not just writing, it's really storytelling. And so even when you're writing a blog or you're writing even a shorter social media post, it's still, you need to find a way to tell a story in that small space. So even if it's not writing, even if it's done via video, you're still telling a story, because storytelling has always been how we've passed information down. And a lot of that has been somewhat lost over the years, simply because of the modern age that we live in, and everybody wants instant gratification, and we're not as apt to sit at someone else's feet and listen. So whether we're doing it orally or whether we're doing it via a written word, we need to capture our audience from the beginning and keep whatever story we're telling interesting and compelling and progressing consistently, paragraph, if you will, after paragraph, so that your listeners, your readers, stay engaged, and then they're willing to tell somebody else, and that helps that positive contagion go on.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, what you just said. That's spot on.
Perfect. Okay, well, it's almost time for me to go and pick up the little human from nursery. So before we go, normally she's usually here, and you can usually hear her in the background yapping around. But it's like 2017. We're big girls now. We go and spend 2 hours in nursery. So if people want to connect with you, because I'm gonna have to kick you out of my cafe, how do they connect with you? So let's give you Mike. Or Jim, Sweeney. See, I've been talking about Mike too much now. Mike is in my head.
That's okay. You know something? That's a good thing that people remember Mike. I don't care if they don't remember me. I just care if they remember the character. Then they could eventually find me. But the best way to get a hold of me, real simple, just go to our website. It's themike.com. That's TheeMike, themike.com. And you can find everything about the Mike character. You can download up to 15 sports comic books for free. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter. I'm pretty public, easy to find. And thanks for the opportunity having me on the show. This has been great.
Perfect. Thanks. What's your Twitter handle?
At Mike on Sports.
At Mike on Sports. Okay, perfect. And Janelle?
You can find me at JanelleAlex.com, and Janelle is just JANELLE. Alex is ALEX. But also the work I do with my husband is authorstalkaboutit.com. So you can find pretty much everything there with us, and all of our social media connections there as well.
Perfect. It's been absolutely fantastic having both of you, but I'm going to have to kick you both out now.
Well, thank you, though.
Well, I'm leaving grudgingly. This has been great. All right. Well, thanks, ladies.
Thank you, and maybe you will come back sometime soon, because I do like having people come back.
Excellent. Perfect. Thank you. Just invite us.
All right.
Okay. Bye now.